The failure of the Super Eagles of Nigeria to qualify for Qatar 2022 World Cup is still a bitter pill for most Nigerians to swallow. Reacting to the missed tickets, the Senate slammed the team for that lackluster performance against the Black Stars of Ghana on Tuesday on the 29th of March, describing it as painful and disheartening. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Sports and Youth Development, Senator Obinna Ogba, said the upper legislative chamber will carry out a holistic investigation into what happened. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has tendered an apology to the federal government and Nigerians for the failure of the Super Eagles to reach the World Cup finals in Qatar, despite the enormous support from government and Nigerians who trooped out to fill the 60,000 capacity MKO Abiola National Stadium, Abuja, for the clash with Ghana. Let's relive that sad moment with you. I'm not happy, in spite of the fact that, yes, we lost, we did not qualify for the World Cup. This stadium, I can't remember the last time we played there. It has just been rehabilitated, courtesy of some private guys and the efforts from the sport minister, Sunday Dari, you know, this national stadium, Lagos here, and Abuja National Stadium. So because we lost that match, look at what we turned our own property into. Must it always degenerate to this?
Well, it is a sad reflection of our society and a sad reaction from the crowd. They came with high expectation that the Eagles will win, and after we painfully lost out, not that we were beaten, but on away goal rules, the tension got to them and they reacted angrily in a very bad way. It is uncalled for. It's uncalled for. It is sad and it is condemnable. It's just as the same way the English fan reacted when they were beaten by Italy in the final of the Euro 2020 at Wembley. I think it was this year too. They reacted and they attacked everything. That is the volatile reaction, the spontaneous reaction of fans when they expect to get good result and the result turn against their teams. So it's condemnable because this stadium, multi-million-naira stadium that has just been rehabilitated, this is the first match we are playing on the stadium. And look at how it turned out. It's sad.
Chile, now, it's not as if when you want to look at the quality of players that we paraded, it's not as if the Ghanaians had better players in terms of clubs they played for in Europe and, you know, a better representation. But what went wrong?
The Eagles clearly played without a discernible pattern. That has been the problem of our team for some time. Then the fighting spirit was not there. The fighting spirit was not there. I think the Ghanaians showed us that they wanted it more. And as a philosopher once said, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can win. Somebody asked Ronaldo of Manchester United, an hypothetical question, will Portugal qualify? He said, there won't be a World Cup without Portugal. Portugal will be at this World Cup. He said it emphatically, he was sure. And that's what happened. That's why North Macedonia eliminated Italy, the European champions. They beat North Macedonia easily and qualified. So I didn't see that fighting spirit. Secondly, we didn't have a creative midfielder who can dictate the play, who can control the midfield, who can control the game. We didn't boss the game.
The guys of JJ Okocha.
Yes, someone in that midfield who will anchor that midfield and tread passes, because Osimhen was waiting for service. He didn't get service. Despite the fact I didn't get service, he was the one drifting to midfield, trying to help.
Very, very active.
It was isolated. You needed a midfielder who could tread passes accurately to him and let him finish the job. He has the energy, he has the height. But we didn't have that. Aribo is not a playmaker in the real sense of the word, because for a playmaker you have to have the engine, you have to be creative. But we didn't have that. And then the coach, I think the quality of coaching was abysmal, probably the worst that I've seen as someone who has been following Nigerian football for some time. Eguavon, in my view, should not come near a national team. It shouldn't come near a national team. The tactics were not there. Game management was zero. He does not know when to substitute players. He will substitute them when it's very late and when they cannot make an impact. You know, so you can have the best crop of players in the world. If the evidence of coaching is not there, if they can't string 5 passes
together
at once. This Super Eagles team, I said it before the match.
Yes.
And people, somebody said I was harsh. But I was saying the truth. They can't make 5-6 passes at once. And we saw Ghanaians passing even more than 6 times, 7 times. That same team. So if you can't control the midfield, how do you win a game? How?
Now, it's very difficult pain to bear that Qatar here, that, you know, so many Nigerians have been looking forward that they will visit, that to be a time to follow the Super Eagles, that we are not going to attend that World Cup. And the fallout of this, I think this happened in, is it 2006?
Yes.
So
that was the last time we missed the World Cup, apart from this year. And I have not even gotten over the disappointment. I thought over it all through the night. That if we have been beaten by the best team in Africa, I would have taken it as a consolation. Like you said, we are the better players. But Jide has said it all. No pattern, no structure. Look at the Ghanaian team. In the first half, they realized the pattern we are playing, loving the ball over the central defenders and for Osimhen to run and meet the ball. It worked for us in the first half. But they went to the dressing room, look at it, and change their own pattern. We didn't change ours. And when we came in for the second half, we did not even make any attempt at goal, except the one made by Osimhen. Half chances. Why they were the Ghanaians were comfortable throughout the second half because they were never threatened in the real sense of the word. They were never threatened. We were playing as if, like Jide said, that there was nothing at stake. No changing. When the Ghanaians were coming in the second half, they changed 3 of their players immediately and changed their tactics. But our coach just stood up, was looking at the players. It was obvious that Calvin Bassey, he is a good player. But this is the first time he's playing in Africa, in a harsh weather like that. He was tired by the start of the second half.
He was gasping.
He was gasping for breath. Yet he continued to play until about 60 minutes. The same thing, Aribo does not have the physical strength to tackle the Ghanaians. He doesn't have it. You should have changed him earlier. No, you left him. He even played the 90 minutes, the whole 90 minutes. So we don't have a coach.
Okay, I have joining us a sports analyst, Yomi Kuku. Thank you for joining us. John Kuku. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's my pleasure to be here.
We can't ask you whether you are disappointed because that would be the answer will be so predictable. But can you tell us the extent of your disappointment at our elimination from the World Cup?
Well, first I was expecting Nigeria not to go too far in the near future, maybe not as much as coming much earlier than this. But the way the Nigeria Football Federation has been running football in Nigeria, it is very clear that the game was heading for doom. In the 7-8 years of the current administration, we have seen Nigeria sent packing, even where we've always had the strong point, like female football, going to the Olympics, going to the African Women's Championships, and then, bringing home the cup. And then you would expect that such would have elevated Nigeria beyond the African sphere, moving on to conquer Europe and then getting as much as, medal contenders in the Olympics and all that. For days to the qualifier itself, I tried to be in denial for the first time because I don't know what the patriotism that just came over me, like, listen, yeah, it seems this is going to be the way, but let me just be positive. And I have no regret about it anyway because I'm a Nigerian and I feel the same way everybody feels. But the truth there is that the way football is in Nigeria currently and what is going on was not just about what happened last week. It is something that has been cultivated over the last 10 years, even before this administration came in. But it got worse with this administration. I mean the football administration right now, because practically all the officials are more interested in getting into CAF, into FIFA, and, putting their cronies also into those committees at the CAF level and FIFA level, basically abandoned the Nigerian league, which used to be the bedrock of a selection process. If you look through the history of Nigerian football, the highest we've ever had any diaspora players who considered Nigeria like second choice was just now. I mean, having to bring in diaspora players, 1, 2, to complement, the players homegrown, quality players homegrown, let me put it that way. And the diaspora players actually also came in quality players too. And so they go out there to conquer the world. Look at USA 94. Efane Kuku was, and then Ruben Agbola, they were part of the team and they played all their way all through. And these two guys were quality players. Ruben got injured eventually, could not make it to the United States. And then if you go to France, also in 1998 and then 2002, you would see over time that there's this continuous reliance on homegrown majorly and then putting in 1 or 2 players. But now the situation is not the same. The last game we played in Abuja, we had 6 first-team players who were diaspora born. And all 6, virtually all of the 6 players considered Nigeria as second choice. I have no problem with that. If we're grooming players at home, they would have been able to compete with these diaspora born, and then would have been able to pick the most quality amongst them. But when we began to look at it from the basis that somebody plays with Glasgow Rangers or is playing with Udinese or Watford, even if they are second string players, we don't really care. We say, oh, the league is not good at home. But let me point out something here. What is really affecting the league at home? The head of the league itself, Shehu Diko, who happened to be the one that should be drafting and driving the strategic development of the league in the last 8 years, has been more of a CAF official than the Nigerian Football Federation official. Look at the Nigerian league that has grown from, having a full house. I'm even talking about this current NFF, where they got to the point that we're even watching live games in the evenings. I watched MFM playing against Kano Pillars. It was a night game. I saw on CNN one of the best goals scored by Sikiru Olatubosun of MFM from the left back. And people were beginning to look at Nigerian league. And then suddenly from nowhere, these guys basically got obsessed with being in CAF and FIFA. They abandoned everything local. You would even see them on match days wearing Manchester United jersey, Liverpool jersey. You go to their offices, you're seeing them also, wearing shirts of foreign clubs. Yeah, you can say it's a free world. It is not. If the FA of England cannot wear stationary stores jersey, it becomes a crime if a Nigerian Football Federation official wears a Manchester United jersey.
So
it becomes a crime.
What should we do since, in your view, these guys have let their country down? What should then happen? Shouldn't they resign, as we've seen some of the... Shouldn't they just resign so that we can start afresh?
Well, I hope they did that even immediately after the game, which unexpectedly they did not. And if you look at the Algerian FA president, he resigned honorably immediately after the Algerian team lost to Cameroon. He called a press conference in Algiers, or was it in Blida, if I'm not mistaken? And then he addressed them and said, well, his leadership has failed the nation and he doesn't see any reason why he should continue. But the Nigerian case is quite different. A huge contradiction, far away from what you would think is a moral dictate. The guy who is the Federation president, Hamaju Pinnick, instead left for Qatar under the guise of being a FIFA Council official. Excuse me, where is your loyalty? Is it to that FIFA official nomenclature, or is it Nigeria that is your country? You don't even feel that it's a time where you do some self-check. So if you ask me, I think if it's from the point of moral and what is expected of people who consider themselves as, knowing exactly what they're doing and being committed to their job, what they would do is they would resign, regardless of whether the election will be coming up in September or whatever time, even if it was going to be the next day. We need to start singing this into the hearing of people, that resignation is more or less like something that should be humane. It is part of humanity. It is part of you showing remorse.
Let me ask you this question. Many people said the time was too short to replace Guavon. Looking back, would you say that the time was indeed too short?
Or Roy would have been better?
Well, in the first place, there was no reason to engage Gernot Rohr, the expatriate coach that came, because if you're actually looking for competence and excellence, there was no reason for us to go for Rohr. Rohr was the coach of Girondins Bordeaux in 1996, and they played against Bayern Munich in the UEFA Cup final, which is equivalent of what you call the Europa Cup right now. But afterwards, it's been a descent. He went on to become sporting director at Eintracht Frankfurt, and then he also went to Nantes, who were in the Ligue 2, and then, second division.
No, I'm referring, maybe you didn't hear me clearly.
I heard you, I'm saying something prelude to that. So if they hadn't employed Rohr, Guavon would not have come into the picture. And again, at the end of the day, what we're saying is that there's no strategic development program, no strategic development output to say these are the parameters to be used to employ coaches. What are the parameters being used? So if they were going to be doing that, Guavon would never have become the coach. He would have been back in the office, because over time now, for a while, he's been more of technical director, sitting in the office, analyzing technical situations, and he's not really held any on the bench, in-person football game coaching. So that basically disqualifies him, because if you're not in day-to-day activities, like taking you off the screen now, for instance, for as long as 5-6 years, when you come back, you're likely going to be very rusty.
I want to thank you for your intervention. Thank you so much. Then, Musbam, a lot of people are saying that the way Guavon might have left, that by now Hamaju Melvin Pinnick should have thrown the toe.
That is absolutely what should have happened. The Nigeria Football Federation has failed Nigerians, and the top officials should have just have left for a new election to take place. Let's chart a new path for Nigerian football. They have done their best. Let them go with their best now. We need a new leadership at the Nigerian Football Federation. We need a new leadership.
We don't need the apologies. They should just leave. If Pinnick has a shred of honor, this is the time to throw in the towel. If he has honor as small as the mustard seed, this is the time for Pinnick to throw in the towel, because we've seen other people do the same thing. And I hope that we'll be able to learn from this. Those who said it was too late to replace Guavon, we saw the Cameroonians, they replaced their coach with Rigobert Song, and despite losing the first leg, they qualified at home. They qualified for the World Cup. We saw the Ghanaians, they replaced their coach and qualified. Then we will be deceiving ourselves here that, let Guavon remain, that it is too late to change a coach.
Do you know
coach without tactical acumen, no time can be too late to send him packing.
The people are just playing to the gallery. Do you know they have even prepared a 2.5-year contract for Guavon if he had managed to qualify for the World Cup? So what are we saying? The coach has failed. Look at our nation's score. By clipping Chukwueze and what's the name of this, Simon, the Tunisians they knew our game plan and they just went for it, scored a goal, and that was the end. Guavon has no answer, and we can't qualify for the quarterfinal. For a long time, we have the semi-final has been our leagues. The least stage we have reached in the Nations Cup.
We go to Qatar now as spectators.
Yes, let's go and watch.
It's unfortunate that
it's very unfortunate.
A country with so many talents. This is how we ended up. The Ghanaian team is the worst that I've ever seen since I've been watching Ghanaian football.
They're not spectacular.
That I'm ashamed that kind of team can eliminate my team.
Nigeria.
It's a massive shame for me.
Their only shot on target was a goal.
Yes,
we have to leave there.
Our goalkeeper didn't make a single save.
From the statistics.
Zero save.
Thank you, Musbah. Thank you.